most of you have decided about your research areas. When you are undertaking a research, you have to obviously, before you start applying for PhD, the first thing that you have in your mind is a theme on which you want to do a research. The PhD degree is a doctorate in philosophy. You may be doing engineering, but they give you doctorate in philosophy. You may be doing research in social sciences, but they'll give you a doctorate in philosophy. You may be doing research in management, but they'll give you doctorate in philosophy. Why so? Because fundamentally, you are going to create a philosophy. Research is always encouraged in fundamental discipline, fundamental subject, fundamental issue. If you do a PhD which brings a new theory, fundamental understanding, you deserve a PhD. Sometimes some people undertake a PhD and bring theses, and then they tell, look, I've completed my PhD. What is the topic? I have studied profitability in Northwestern Railway. You have studied Northwestern Railway, you have studied its profitability, that's fine, but what is the fundamental contribution? Have you done any theory building? Have you done any fundamental? What is the fundamental contribution? Sir, I have studied employer-employee relationship in Northwestern Railway. I have studied productivity in Northwestern Railway. I have studied employee grievance management system this kind of thing you should have done in a small project. Why are you doing it for doctoral? And you earn a PhD on the basis of this. The word denotes that you are a doctorate of philosophy. That means you have given a philosophy. You have contributed a philosophy. You have contributed a theory. You have contributed to knowledge building. You have not created any knowledge. You have not contributed any knowledge. You have tried to apply an existing knowledge, and you claim that you have got a PhD on the basis of that. It is my humble submission that the PhD degree, doctorate in philosophy, should be given to someone who is able to contribute something fundamental. Somebody who is able to create a philosophy, somebody who is able to create a new theory, somebody who is able to create a new piece of knowledge. Your ability to generate wisdom, knowledge, theory, which is going to help many, many generations to come. For that, you get this. The development of theories should be your priority. Development of theories related to fundamental assumptions, fundamental issues. I have seen people busy in hypothesis testing. They say, sir, I'm busy in hypothesis testing. I know how to use chi-square test, and therefore I will use chi-square test. I know how to use t-test, and therefore I will use t-test. Because you know t-test, therefore you apply t-test. This is not logical. Because you know certain test tools, and therefore you apply them, that is not logical. Because you know some non-parametric tests or some parametric tests, and therefore you apply them when you deserve PhD, that is not logical. You can earn a PhD even without applying any test. But the fundamental thing should be there. The most fundamental thing is not a statistical test. The most fundamental thing is your ability to create a new philosophy, your ability to create a new theory, your ability to create a new knowledge. So if you are able to create or add a piece of knowledge, you earn a PhD. So it is my humble request to every researcher, become a researcher on some fundamental issue. If you contribute to the fundamental issue, you deserve and you earn a PhD. Therefore, treat it as my humble request. And the most fundamental things are rarely touched upon. You browse through 10 titles of doctorate thesis, you will find hardly 1 or 2 out of these 10 titles which are actually taking up the most fundamental issues. Most of them are just application. They are just trying to see application of an existing theory, undertake some statistical test that they knew, and they earn a PhD out of that. But that is not a proper. The doctorate of philosophy must be based on fundamental contribution, development of a new theory or development of a new understanding. It is our duty to reverse this trend. This trend, you see, using a theory for a statistical application and earning a PhD on the basis of that. That is not proper. It is our duty to bring some check. First of all, the research scholars should exercise self-check. Then their supervisor should exercise. Then their department should exercise in their departmental research committee. And then the university should ultimately exercise some check. Now, because first of all, the topic should be, I believe, deciding the right topic is most crucial. And the first check should be at this stage itself. Many times people formulate a topic and it is not properly thoroughly discussed in the research forums. The thesis is prepared and ultimately the research scholar starts weeping. Look, I have done hard work, I have prepared a thesis, what can I do? Why don't you grant me a PhD? But the fundamental questions are ignored. Without addressing fundamental questions, without addressing fundamental issues, how do you deserve to get a doctorate? Just a matter of consideration. What should be the approach? The proper system should be that a research scholar should discuss with a panel of academicians about the title. And once a broad title is decided upon, the synopsis should be discussed thoroughly in DRC, Departmental Research Committee, where everyone should give inputs how to improve the research topic, how to broaden the research topic, how to ensure that the research topic covers fundamental issues. By broaden, do not confuse it to taking multiple objectives. Research should address only one objective or a few objectives. The research focus should be very narrow. Research is an inquiry into a very in-depth study. If you want to undertake in-depth study, you cannot cover so many things. So that is also to be clear. I mean, don't think that I am asking you to take so many things for a study. Many research scholars take up 10 objectives, 20 objectives, 20 research objectives. Yes. Will you be able to cover them? Yes. That's impossible. You cannot. If you are undertaking in-depth study, you should be able to focus only on one or two topics, which are truly fundamental topics. Remember, PhD is not industry consultancy. Differentiate between them. A company asks you, can you reduce my cost of production? This is purely industrial consultancy work. This is not a PhD work. A company asks you, can you identify my employee satisfaction? You say yes, and you undertake a survey of that company, identify employee satisfaction level. You have done an industrial consultancy, no doubt, but it is not a doctorate research. It is not a PhD level research. It is not a fundamental research. Differentiate between these two. PhD is to create a fundamental understanding. PhD is to create some theory, some fundamental theory. And an industry project or industry consultancy is something which is to address a specific issue for that industry or that company based on the theories which are already available. So you try to differentiate between them and focus on fundamental aspects. We need fundamental researchers who can address fundamental issues. I really wish somebody should undertake research to find, are the policies of developed countries really right policies? It would be fundamental research. Is the way these countries are following capitalism, will that be right approach? Is it right to deny underdeveloped countries the financial support they deserve because they are continuously being exploited? Their knowledge is being exploited, their resources are being exploited, their manpower are being exploited, their markets are being exploited. You know, countries like India or the underdeveloped countries are losing a lot of things, and most important of them is knowledge. The knowledge of underdeveloped countries, the knowledge base of underdeveloped countries is straightway exported to developed countries who make use of that knowledge. You look at any underdeveloped country like India, because of lack of infrastructure, because of lack of confidence, because of lack of awareness, these countries are not able to preserve, protect, respect their own knowledge base. So their knowledge base is straightway transferred. Can you mute yourself, Archikaji? Can you mute yourself, Archikaji? Can the moderator mute her? No one. Can Mr. Shekhar listen to me? Can Mr. Shekhar listen to me? Can someone ask Mr. Shekhar?